Hello, everybody. Happy Monday and a very warm welcome to Full-Time Review. It is presented by Amazon Prime. Jillian Sakovits here with you to kick off this week. Let's talk about something that happened, though, over the weekend. 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations officially in the books. Sunday night, Cameroon defeating Malawi 3-0 in the final in Morocco to lift their first ever continental trophy. The finale proved one game too many for the Chawinga sisters' Cinderella Story, who were outclassed by Cameroon. But still, second place and a spot at the 2027 World Cup, which will be Malawi's first World Cup, is a huge accomplishment for the nation in what was their first ever WAFCON. So on today's show, we talk about what will the legacy of this tournament and Malawi's extraordinary breakthrough be. So to answer some of those questions, we have PJ Green of the Kansas City Star. We're going to talk about Temwa Chawinga in Malawi and how they helped grab the U.S. audiences. What was so special about the support that we saw in Kansas City and getting behind their two-time MVP. With the NWSL season in full swing, the action on the pitch has been absolutely relentless. Between tracking the table standings and planning watch parties, life moves fast. When sudden match day plans pop up, you can't afford to be caught flat-footed. That's why Amazon Prime is an absolute game changer. It lets you say yes to the moments that matter most without missing kickoff. Need new fanware before a massive rivalry match? Some last-minute pitchside gear for your weekend league? Or just a massive snack delivery because the whole crew is coming over before the broadcast? Prime has you covered. Because it's not just about getting things fast, it's about making sure you're ready for 90 minutes plus stoppage time completely stress-free. Same-day delivery, it's on Prime. Available in select areas, terms apply. Go to Amazon.com/Prime to find millions of items delivered fast, so you're always match day ready. Now, let's get you back to the show. Now, I am so thrilled to be joined by reporter for the Kansas City Star, PJ Green. Hello, welcome to the show, PJ. How are you?
I'm so good. It's long time first time. So good to get the insight of how things work.
Uh, Great to have you on. I really am so interested to know what the Temwa Effect in Kansas City on the ground has been like. Let's start here. The Kansas City Current held a watch party on Sunday night for the WAFCON final. Love that. They changed their logo on social media to have the Malawi colors. Can you kind of take us inside all of this fanfare around Temwa Chawinga and Malawi for this tournament?
I think the effect was kind of not as much as we would want, from a
Mhm.
fan perspective. I think from a club perspective, they went all in, especially on the social media side. I think I was telling other reporters, I'm like, man, this is like, because it was like several times a day that they would just make sure that fans knew that Timwa was in this tournament. So I think from the
Uh-huh.
club side was excellent, very much so. From the fan side, I think fans watched, but maybe not like maybe the talk of it wasn't like in droves. But I definitely know fans tuned in. Fans talked about it online still. I'm sure once they have a match coming up this weekend, so I'm sure there will be Malawi flags everywhere. There's gonna be Temwa things everywhere. Like the fans have always supported Temwa ever since she showed up and like kind of took the league by storm. So yeah, I think here is just probably learning what WAFCON was, and then learning what Temwa meant to her national team, because again, she hasn't played for them in over a year. So I think this was like the KC Current fans like first time seeing her on that stage, seeing her wear her national colors, and being like, oh, like the same way that we love and like need her so much, Malawi also loves and needs her a lot the same.
Yeah, we talked a lot about this throughout the tournament, on the show that the notoriety and the eyeballs, especially across social media, given kind of some of the hurdles around broadcast, definitely felt like they were there. And I think everybody that is super tuned in wanted it to be a little bit more, but I think it was a positive step in the right direction because it was more. It was more than in the past. People reacting to and watching WAFCON. When I think of Kansas City this summer, I think about the fact that Argentina was based there, the men's team. Some really epic games out of Arrowhead Stadium on TV. and some really cool looking watch parties in KC. How much do you think that kind of like people dabbling in soccer, this June, this July fed into some Temwa-ness this August?
Right. I think first of all, I think because Kansas City is such a sports city
Uh-huh.
because I like to call it a bandwagon city. It's like people see the nice fun thing,
Yeah,
they want
soccer's
they
cool
want to
this
join.
summer. Come
Yeah,
on.
exactly. Like and like instead of saying bandwagon because I know it's a little derogatory, I want to say community oriented city. So
Oh,
like
cute.
people love to be part of the experience, whether that's Chiefs doing well or Royals doing well or Current doing well. People want to be a part of that experience. World Cup in the city, and the World Cup was hyped up beforehand, and Americans still, funny enough, didn't realize how huge the World Cup is as the World Cup. So I think that all of that is a part of it. And now, and like even throughout the World Cup, the Netherlands, they stayed at the KC Currents facility. So like KC Current fans were at the Netherlands practices, and Netherlands had a community session, and it was great. About 1,000 people there. So, but throughout the whole World Cup, I mean, the Current was still. They're still like, hey, we still got ballers too. Like the campaign that they have rolling now is that the best team in the world is in Kansas City. Now whether you believe it or not, that's a personal choice. But the billboards and the ad campaigns and they stay boosting themselves up, especially with Temwa. She's on all the billboards and everything. So yeah, I think that was a transition of yes, we are the Current, we are great, which means we host World Cup teams. But once they leave, don't you forget that we also have our own player that will likely be at the World Cup next year. So or multiple. Could be multiple next year.
Yeah. Okay. So you mentioned like the billboards and all of that. For someone who hasn't been to Kansas City in a minute, w- how much of a rise have you seen from Temwa Chawinga within the city from when she first arrived in
Mhm.
2024 to now?
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that I talk about often with other reporters at the games. I'm just like, 2 years ago, it's like, oh, his Temwa Chawinga made this signing, and you look at the goal numbers, and you're like, is that a touch? And it's like, no, that's real. 86 goals, 85 matches. No, that's a real number. It was not made up. And then the first couple of games hit, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, they got something here. So I think once the MVP track started to rise, I think that's when you start seeing more buzz, more branding, and then once the MVP hit, and then the MVP hit as the Current opened CPKC Stadium that 2024. So Temwa arrives, Vlatko arrives, Stadium arrives, and then they host the final, and then Temwa is awarded the MVP at the final in Kansas City. So like that moment in itself, even though that final night was very cold, like that moment in itself was just the antithesis of like, and even then it was still like not that many people there. So
Mhm.
like it was because of she was awarded the trophy before the final, like probably like an hour before the final.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
so yeah, so even then, like not that much fanfare, but I think the past year of like we got an MVP here, we going for the championship, we going for the shield. I think last season was the big rise of marketing, of pushes, of trying to get her on Ballon d'Or lists, and Kansas City loves to pump itself. They love to pump what they have, which is great. And now the city has Pat. In our office, I'm staring at cutouts of Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce right now. So,
Fair.
the city loves its stars, and like Timwa is right up there in that echelon now.
Ted Lasso, episode 1.
Also, yes.
Yes. You mentioned CPKC Stadium. That was the scene for this season's launch. What has that buzz been like around Kansas City?
Oh gosh, the Ted Lasso buzz. Oh, um, let me go back to. I think it might have been a few days before the Argentina Switzerland match, where everyone's getting ready for Argentina Switzerland. We're coming in. We got one more Banderazo coming up in like the middle of the city. And then I go to an event where it's Clark Hunt, the owner, the CEO,
Mhm.
chairman of Chiefs, is it's the big wig event of the KC folks, Cliff Illig of the Sporting KC. They're all speaking, and then I talked to a reporter. He's like, "Oh yeah," he's like, "Oh, I just got here, got there too late." He's like, "Oh yeah, I was on the Ted Lasso bus," and I'm like, "What you mean the Ted Lasso bus?" They
Mhm.
had people, or I think it was mostly women, going around the city dressed up like Ted Lasso with the hat, the mustache,
Wow.
the button down, the fan, just
For
like on a
fun?
double for just for Ted Lasso, just for marketing
Wow.
purposes.
I don't
Like,
know, for those of you who have ever had to walk through this New York City, on a winter day in December, it's kinda giving me, like, SantaCon vibes.
yeah, a little bit, like double-decker bus, a bunch of folks just dressed like Ted Lasso, just
Okay, I'm
going
here for
around the
that.
city. Yeah, I mean, it was funny to see, like, the clips from it, like, because plus it was during the World Cup fever, so, like, at that point, the city wasn't, they used to seeing wild stuff at that point. So it's like, okay, cool. And then, like, the Current has Ted Lasso events at the stadium, and they hosted like a watching, I think a watch party there also. So yeah, this city also loves Ted Lasso. Again, anything Kansas City, this city is gonna get behind. So
Okay.
they've been watching Ted Lasso for years. Like they've been there just because it's Jason Sudeikis.
So then that begs the question, there will be sprinkles of the Kansas City Current in the Women's World Cup 10
Yep.
months from now. How much do you think that Kansas City is going to, yes, okay, embrace the Women's World Cup, but embrace
Mhm.
Malawi at next summer's World Cup?
Oh, it's gonna be all Malawi. I would assume. I would assume it's gonna be very much a lot of Malawi, especially because like I already have wheels turning because like we'll have Temwa from Malawi,
Mhm.
possibly Michelle Cooper, Corey Bethune for USA. So
Yes.
there will be so many reasons for us to watch the World Cup. Plus, KC may also get a bid for 2031. So even more reasons to watch the Women's World Cup and see how it will look in America. So yeah, like like I'm sure that we'll find some Malawi immigrants that live in Kansas City because it's a very underground immigrant population here of all kinds that we saw come out of the World Cup. I'm sure Malawi flags will start popping up at some point. They may even light Union Station and the skyline in Malawi colors, I would assume. But again, KC goes this far, so I would not put it past them to do a lot of shenanigans once we get towards the Women's World Cup next summer, and then people start reminiscing about, yeah, I remember the World Cup was here and we had such the best time and the city was crazy, but oh, there's another World Cup this summer. Oh, Temwa. And that's the thing is that like of all the current players in this city, even the folks who know very minimal soccer,
Uh-huh.
Temwa Chawinga.
Yeah.
Temwa Chawinga. Like when they had Black Excellence like a few nights ago
Mhm.
or a few weeks ago, I remember talking to some folks from the local chapters of Black fraternities, and I think I mentioned Tim while I wasn't playing, and they were like, "Ooh," they're like, "Oh, do we want to go watch the game?" I'm like, "Come on!" I'm like, "No, they're gonna be good. They're gonna be good."
Last question. Can Temwa, we know that she can. Give me on
Right.
a scale of 1 to 100 the likelihood that Temwa Chawinga three-peats, I should say,
Three
as
peats.
NWSL MVP.
You know what? I'm gonna say yes. She already got the golden boot. She done took Malawi to the World Cup. Why not add a third straight MVP in America? And then if the Ballon d'Or, I don't care if it's Ballon d'Or. If the Ballon d'Or is not, if she's not at least top five, we're making calls,
Mm,
emails,
that's a whole nother
flights.
podcast, PJ.
Yes, it is. And you know what? That's fine.
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. We need a little more representation from the NWSL in that Ballon d'Or conversation. That is no secret. Yes, and the current leader of the NWSL Golden Boot race is fellow African Barbara Banda, who returned a little bit earlier than Temwa.
Right.
So she's at 12 goals. So
12.
we'll
Okay.
see. But it's not all about the goals. It's not all about the goals. We know that.
That's right.
It's important though.
Yeah. Hey, you might as well get golden boot and MVP. Why not just be greedy?
Thank you to our listeners, as always, for hanging out with us here on Fulltime. Got any thoughts, concerns, emotions, feelings about today's show? Let us know. As always, you can email us at fulltime@theathletic.com or send us a DM over at TA Fulltime. Did you know The Athletic has partnered with Yahoo Sports to provide free, best-in-class coverage of women's sports? Go check out the Women's Sports Hub at sports.yahoo.com/women's-sports.